How to make videos like PMRants. Step 1. Go on about your daily business. Step 2. Let inspiration strike.
I got it! I'll make a video about...
Step 3. Research the topic. Step 4. Get sick. Step 5. Lose hope after seeing videos regarding the same subject by far superior channels. Step 6. Wallow in the depths of your despair.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
While sick. Step 7. Poop. Step 8. When you think you're done, poop again. Step 9. Get distracted in one way or another.
You're such a pretty cat. A sweet old duck cat that you are.
Ooh, new game grounds.
Step 10. Work at your day job. Step 11. Take a break because you were tired from working your day job. Step 12. Get depressed over the fact that you're an inconsistent piece of shit and you let your fan base down. Step 13. Let inspiration strike again.
I got it! I know how I'll make my video unique!
Step 14. Research the topic. If it's already covered, do it anyway, cause fuck the police. Step 15. Word out what you're going to say which rings true to you.
How can I incorporate the word jerkbutt without sounding like a 5-year-old?
Step 16. Spend the next few sleepless days writing, shooting, voicing, and editing your video.
This guy's a real jerkbutt. You wanna know how much of a jerkbutt he is?
During this, you will probably have to stop and poop several times. Step 17. You're done. Upload that shit.
And done.
Step 18. Spend the next day or two periodically checking the comments.
You suck. Kill yourself. Ooh. Go die in a hole and suck on a tranny's balls, you fat faggot.
Step 19. Do it all over again. But seriously, with all the silliness and scathing, self-truthful satire aside, I thought I'd try to make something to where I would try to show my methods on how I personally make my videos. Oh, by the way, I'm recording this at like 2:30 in the morning, so I have to be as quaint and quiet as possible. These are in no way pro tips. If you want tutorials on how to make really good professional quality videos, then go check out a channel like PMRants. These are just, I guess you can say, self-taught mannerisms that a YouTube channel that had his 15 minutes of fame came up with, and who knows, maybe some budding ranter or reviewer may find useful. Alright, so the first most commonly used but most important piece of advice that any filmmaker or videographer will tell you is that lighting is key. I mean, this even works for, small-time rant videos. They cannot stress how important lighting is. Even when watching this video, you'd probably notice there's some lighting inconsistencies, especially whenever a light source is pointed towards the camera. It's a glaring issue, and it's a very, very big error, especially when it comes to professionally made film. Now, that's not saying that there's a finite way on how to light your videos. Of course, you can make creative liberties with that, but if you're don't make your only source of light like a ceiling fan light and it's in the background area, because no one wants to see like a barely lit face or just a poorly lit face on a computer screen in a low quality webcam. And maybe the computer screen will help with that lighting, but it's That's not a very good lighting combination. You don't even have to get professional grade lighting rigs or bulbs or equipment. You can just use a freaking lamp. Just get a lamp and put a piece of paper or a makeshift screen to increase the lighting softness. Typically how I like to do things is that I like to shoot during the day, and how I try to get better lighting is to just open my blinds. On a sunny day, it can work wonders. Real tip number 2, editing programs. Now obviously you don't need to have Final Cut or Adobe Premiere to make tightly edited videos. I mean, you can use shit like Windows Movie Maker or even iMovie. But if you can get a hold of an editing program that allows for frame-by-frame editing and can allow for basic color correction, you will benefit greatly from it. I promise you. Try to look for programs like Pinnacle. A staple that I've seen was Sony Vegas. I mean, I may sound like a hypocrite here, but I use Final Cut Pro 7, and that's a professional editing software. But to those who can afford that expensive package, I think Sony Vegas will run you like $80. I'm just pulling that number out of my ass, but that is a very competent program that will allow for tight editing. And whenever it comes to precise editing, frame by frame is the way to go. Real tip number 3, do your best to mask cuts. Now, this is going to take some practice and creativity on your part, but it can be done. There's an unwritten rule in filmmaking that's called the 30-degree rule, which means whenever a shot cuts in the same scene, usually the next camera placement for the next shot is about 30 degrees from where the camera is originally placed. Now, if you're in like a tight-knit corner, you really can't allow that. Or if you're using a webcam, you can't move your entire computer just to get like cool-looking shots that'll make it look more consistent. Now, of course, what I mean by that is the less jump cuts, the better. And the best way to mask jump cuts is that whenever you cut from one sentence to another, right at the beginning of the next cut, insert some sort of image that's relevant to what you're talking about, and then slowly transition to yourself talking again on video. There are a few exemptions to this, and one example is like you're speaking from someone else's perspective. A good way to make that cut distinguishable is by changing the color scheme. You can make that shot black and white or overly saturated, and people will connect the dots that, hey, you're speaking as someone else. Another good exception is for comedic emphasis, but the way this is done is that when you zoom in on someone's face to emphasize a joke or a punchline, it's important that that shot is still in one continuous beat. Like, all you have to do is just split that one take, and at the point where you want to make the comedic emphasis, just split the timeline into 2 sections, and then just increase the scale. It may look like a jump cut, but it's still just all in one continuous beat. Sound is very important, and you should do whatever you can to reduce acoustics. Now, this is probably the most hypocritical tip I can give, because anyone who's an audio whiz who watches my videos will tell you that I do an absolute shit job when it comes to sound, and that's something that I am trying to remedy real quick. For example, I'm talking with the microphone just out in the open, almost no soundproofing whatsoever. But this line right here is with a quilt that's blanketed over my terminal, my work desk, and who knows if it sounds better. I don't have any headphones that can make any distinguishable difference, but if you want like more professional grade advice on how to reduce acoustics, Rice Pirate has an excellent video on how to do that. You should check that out. I'm going to put a link in the description. Writing. Just do it in whatever fashion you can. Anyone on YouTube will tell you that I absolutely suck at improvising. So unless you're calling mockery, you probably need to start off writing and choosing your words very carefully. And it really doesn't matter what program you use or how you do it. You don't need to splurge on $200 script writing software or Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word. There are plenty of free software packages that'll just allow you to type shit down. I personally use WordPad. That comes pre-installed with any Apple device. Hell, just buy a composition book and just start writing shit down by hand. People still do that, you know. Trust your audience. A pet peeve of mine is when people constantly, and I mean constantly, express throughout their videos that it's their opinion. Well, of course it's your opinion. The majority of videos on YouTube are primarily subjective, opinionated videos. Your audience isn't stupid. They can distinguish an opinionated piece between factual educational videos. Don't worry about that small percentage of people who can't perceive otherwise. Don't bring yourself down to their level. Make sure that you trust your audience enough to let them know that you're speaking to them, not down to them. This is something I learned very hardly from experience. And I guess the most unique piece of advice I can give, and I'm not even sure that this is unique at all, is to surprise your audience. What I mean by this is that I know how exciting and how fulfilling it must be to have a fan base, but whenever you make announcements for something that you intend to do, and not for something that you are actually doing at the moment, for one thing, it really sets yourself up for disappointment, especially if the thing that you're intending to announce doesn't go through at all, or if it falls flat. Basically, what I'm saying is keep yourself in the dark as much as humanly possible. If you really feel inclined to start building hype and promoting something, do that for material that you're working on that is already well in progress, something that where you see a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't announce something like, for example, don't say that you plan on writing a screenplay. That's the most concise example I can give. Say that you're writing a screenplay when you're about maybe 50 or 60% done with that screenplay. Like this video right here. As of this recording, nobody except for one other person knows I'm making this. And I'm doing this because I feel I get the greatest sense of satisfaction that whenever I release a video that no one's really expecting. It evokes a sense of curiosity and interest to where you don't really know what's coming next. That's how I've always done it. That's how I want to continue doing it because I think it's worked out pretty well so far. So, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this, again, self-scathing, truthful satire about myself, and maybe you've learned a thing or two about what you can do on this website. To wrap this up, I want to say I'm extremely sorry again for the huge stretch in videos, but I just want to assure you that PMRants isn't gone forever. It's been a rough year and a half for me, and I'm gonna try my best to pick up the pieces. So, all I can say is, stay tuned. Thank you for watching.